This is a viewer right here, and his name is AceAT, and he is living in Iran. And he made an update recently, this was a day ago, about what it's like living in Iran during the war. This guy's been a viewer of mine for quite a while, and the first video he made, I reacted to. This is the second video.
Before the video starts, I want to quickly say something. This video was actually supposed to be uploaded much earlier before everything started happening recently. Because of the situation, it took longer than expected to get it online.
Yep. I could say that's the situation. What? Yeah. Ah, that was the internet building.
Please watch this one. But I already have many clips and information I would like to share with you all in the future, hopefully very soon. I also want to say thank you to Aria, someone who helped me share some internet access so I could upload this video. I won't go into more details.
1% of ordinary levels.
But I'm very grateful. Another video will also be coming where I react to a video that Skybrowse made, which I am included. I know many of you are very curious and want to know what is happening here right now.
Yeah,
I understand that, and I truly appreciate your concern. For now, I just ask for a little patience. When the time is right, I will be able to share much more, including things from my own perspective.
The reason why he probably can't do that is that he doesn't want to reveal information that the regime could use to basically backtrace where he is or what he is, and then use that to identify and punish him. That's the reason why.
For being here.
Smart. Doesn't want to die. Yeah.
Hello everyone. Before I start, I want to say something. If this video reaches the same people who saw the previous one, and if you...
My Iranian viewer sent me this, had 1.4 million views. Holy shit.
Genuinely feel like this video is worth being seen again, then only if you think it's appropriate, feel free to share it. Not to force anything, not to spam anyone, just naturally. And honestly, if you are watching this again, Asmongold, that is wild, like genuinely wild. In my previous video,
I feel like, again, I'm one of the only people that actually cares about these different issues. And this is another thing too, is like a lot of people say like, oh, you don't care about other people, etc. I'm one of the only people that's covered a lot of these international like events. Things like the Serbian protests, things like the Indonesia protests, things like the Turkey protests, things like the war in Sudan, things like the end to the war with Rwanda, and I think it was like I forgot even who the fuck they were at war with, but I think the Congo or something like that. And yeah, the Mexico protests, exactly. Well, I've done this a lot of times. I think it's important to do it. India, Pakistan, well, that's a really big one. That's a huge one. There's the India, Pakistan, and then there's inside of Pakistan, there's like further oppression inside of areas of like Kashmir and some of their other more Western areas too. Like Western geographically, not, you know, ideologically. So yeah, it's very, very true. I do my best. And I think the reason why I do it is because nobody else does it. Nobody else cares.
I talked mostly about my personal journey, but this video is different. This time, I want to talk about daily life realities, the kind of things people outside rarely hear about and often misunderstand. Not politics, not exaggeration, just real day-to-day experiences from my perspective. Because many comments kept asking what is daily life actually looks like in Iran, or why don't people just leave? So instead of repeating my story, I want to answer those questions directly. The first thing is water access. In some areas, water supplies is not always consistent throughout the day. There can be scheduled.
Can you imagine that, by the way? Like not being able to have water. Like, I think this is something that the Western mind can't even comprehend. Because like for us, we've always like water is like it's a guarantee. Everybody can get water. You know, you go to the store, use a water fountain. Imagine not being able to get water. I'll be right back.
Unscheduled interruptions that last several hours, sometimes between 8 to 12 hours. This affects very normal things. Cooking.
Wait, so water is gone for 8 to 12 hours? Bro, they ain't to have Bro, fuck the Africa wells. They gotta have them go do wells in fucking Iran. How do you fuck up water? Oh my god. This is the kind of stuff that, like, I think a lot of Westerners don't even realize how bad it is in some of these countries. It's like these people, like you're playing Forza Motorsports and you're driving down the road in your brand new Lamborghini. Meanwhile, they're walking and they're playing QWOP. Oh, water doesn't work. Oh God, the internet's broken. Oh no, they arrested me for being out too late. It's insane how handicapped these people are. It is crazy. All by their oppressive government. It's terrible.
Showering, even basic daily routines. And during hotter seasons, this situation becomes even
126?
more noticeable. You also hear more discussions locally about reserves, dams, and the water levels being lower compared to the past years.
Wow.
I'm not speaking as an expert, just as someone living through it daily. When water becomes limited, life doesn't stop. It just becomes harder in a quiet way. Another major
That's the reason why attacking the salination plants is such a big deal. That's why nobody's done it yet. I hope that the United States doesn't do that.
Factor in daily life is air quality. In large cities especially, air pollution can become severe during certain periods. One of the commonly mentioned reasons is the use of heavy fuel oils in energy production, as we call it locally.
Oh, I wonder if the mountains, because obviously Iran is like, it's an area, I think Peru's kind of like this too, where like you have like very like large steppes and mountains that kind of, and you have the cities that are inside of those mountains, right? And you think about this from ancient times, very clearly, like this is a massive strategic organic advantage, right? Gigantic advantage. So like that's basically what Iran is like too, it seems. And so like I wonder if those mountains and that area effectively creates like a shield from that pollution leaving, because usually it will go out into the ocean and disperse or dissipate. But like if you're not able to do that and it's stuck there, like, oh man, that's really, I never even thought of this.
Muzzled. When that happens, the air can feel
like
heavier,
a bowl?
and
Yeah.
people with breathing issues feel it the most. On some days, people prefer staying indoors not because they want to, but because the air outside feels difficult to tolerate. This is not something
Wow.
dramatic, it's just part of the normal life conditions that people
No, it's not. That's not that's bad. What do you mean that's part of normal life? No, it shouldn't be. That's terrible.
adapt to.
What do you
over time.
mean?
The next thing we're going to be talking about is the electricity stability. Electricity stability is another topic people asked about a lot. Power outages can happen sometimes scheduled or sometimes unexpected. They can last a few hours, and while that may not sound like much, during
it is horrible. A power outage, again, if you've ever had to care for an elderly parent, you will know how terrifying the idea of a power outage is. Because if they're on any sort of oxygen or any other type of, like life assistance, this could potentially mean life and death. It's terrifying. And like also power outages can affect heat and cold. Like I'll give you an example, just real quick. So we had like a huge snowstorm here in America, in Austin, Texas, like 5 years ago. So I'm in California when it happens. My dad, at the time was like 73, 74, huge lung problems. He already got over pneumonia like 4 or 5 times, and like, very much like kind of like 10% HP, right? And so it happens. I can't get through to my dad. And then my dad, obviously, like, he's got all this stuff. I had one of my best friends, right? Like come by, and he was able to pick up my dad and help my dad, like huge W to my friend, Zach McLareevy, right? Like he's an old buddy of mine I've known for 20 years, came and actually basically saved my dad. And like, if it wasn't for that, like, I mean, listen, like my dad was in the fucking military. He probably would have been able to survive and get around. It wouldn't have been a big deal, but like, it would have been very unpleasant for him. And, to say the least. And a tree had fallen over his driveway. Like, here's his driveway, right? A tree fell like this. It was like some Final Destination. You can't leave your house because there's like a fucking horror story that has to happen in it. And he was, whenever my friend got him, whenever he got my dad was shivering with his poncho liner from Vietnam, sitting in his chair. And all the power was out. So, because again, I bet Iran probably also gets very cold too. Like, is obviously, I think it, like a place like that could easily get very cold. And so if that happens, like, think about how dangerous that is for elderly parents and elderly people. It's a desert. Yeah, exactly. At night. Yeah, it's like super up and down. So like, this is the kind of shit that like people don't think about. The same as I never thought about the pollution. This is something else that's like super important.
The hot seasons especially, it becomes very noticeable. When electricity goes out, you don't just lose power.
And also, like, another component, sorry, I don't want to distract again, but like another component to this is that on top of that, you also have oh fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. What was I gonna say?
It's very noticeable. When electricity goes out, you don't just lose power. You lose internet access, cooling, work progress, and daily
With the Iranian economy being so bad, buying a generator is not economically feasible for many of those people, I would assume. So it's not like, the solution that you could give for a guy that's living in Indiana, which is like, oh, just go buy a generator. Sure. Well, for them, being able to buy a generator could be like months of work.
Routine stability. For people working online, even a few hours can affect an entire day. A lot of people assume internet is the same everywhere, but here, internet
generators
is
can be confiscated
per gigabyte, not unlimited. And as you may know,
wait, they got y'all on the fucking that like 2007 phone plan? Oh my, they got y'all paying for data? What?
many global platforms require a VPN connection to function properly. This creates a double cost effect because when using VPNs, data efficiency drops, meaning you may consume more data for the same activity. So you are
There's another component to this too, which is regional pricing. So if you set your data point to being in let's say Israel or being in London or something like that, now you're getting regional pricing from Israel and London rather than the supposed intended regional pricing for Iran that's at a lower level. Like it's like triple actually. Holy fuck.
Not only paying for more internet, but you also indirectly paying more data just to access global platforms normally.
Wow.
For someone working online, this becomes a constant financial pressure. P.S. Starlink has been imported to our country from many different places. However, a lot of people are taking advantage of that connection and selling it per gigabyte to people for up to 2 to 5 million tuman, which is 50 million rial. So it's very, very expensive for people to connect to the internet currently because people are abusing the fact of how rare it is to connect to the internet now. Another topic
that's dude. As I said, bro, this is like, it's like we're playing on easy mode and they're playing on solo self-found hardcore mode. It's like, okay, I want to get the internet. Can I just go to the auction house to buy the internet? No. You have to find somebody that's going to trade you a piece of currency that will allow you to do a dungeon that if you complete the dungeon within a time frame allows you to use the internet for 15 minutes. It's like, holy fuck, and there's PvP. Yes, there's PvP in the dungeon too.
I hesitated to mention before is medical access. Some specialized medicines are not always easily available locally.
Oh my god.
In my personal case, for a rare medical condition that my mother has, I had to look outside the country to obtain the required medication. This process is
which means that it's also completely outside of the economic ecosystem inside of Iran too.
Simple. It involves time, cost, a lot of uncertainty.
Stress.
And when the health is involved, uncertainty.
And there's another component to this too. I don't know if he's going to talk about this, but like going and finding aftermarket medicine right now is really dangerous on the black market because of the different things that it can be cut with. I mean, number one is fentanyl, right? It's really dangerous if you're trying to buy any aftermarket pills right now.
Most stressful part. Even bringing medicine through the travels come with its own complications, paperwork, stress, and fear of delays. So imagine people who cannot travel at all and must rely on expensive alternatives just to get essential treatment. One of the most common comments I receive is, why don't you just move to another country? I understand why people
just leave.
ask that. From the outside, it sounds a simple decision, but in reality, it is extremely complex. First, passports have limitations.
Also, another component to this is that there's the diaspora of Iran is was it 6 to 9 million people? Like, I think it's millions of people. I know that for sure.
When it comes to visa access,
what's the Iran? How many people have left Iran in like the last? How many people are outside of Iran that are Iranian like nationals? Like, I don't know exactly.
Most destinations require visa approval, financial proof, long processing times, and sometimes non-extendable
4 to 5
stays.
Okay.
Second, relocating is not just a plane ticket. It requires stable income, legal residency options, banking access, and long-term planning. For many,
and you remember he said the last video he made was about how banking over there is restrictive as well. That was with like his YouTube money.
People, it is not about willingness to leave, it's about feasibility. Another thing people don't realize is how difficult international banking can be. Opening globally usable bank accounts is not always straightforward. Many international financial systems require residency, documentation, or physical presence in a specific country. And for people living
This is the reason why a lot of people in like developing countries use crypto.
In sanctioned regions, access becomes more limited. Without those requirements, online income, payments, and global transactions become significantly more complicated. This affects freelancers, creators, and remote workers heavily. From my personal experience, getting access to an international card was not something simple at all. It often involved relying on trusted people abroad, third-party services, or complex processes.
And I bet there's probably a legal gray area of operating a bank account that's not yours in Iran. There could be like TOS violations that could create they could maybe cancel your account and like freeze your funds, or there could also be like legal ramifications inside of Iran too.
Make basic global platform work. For example, my girlfriend, she made an international bank account for me under her name in India. And even then, there is extra cost and uncertainty and a lot of trial and error involved. So when people ask, why don't you just open a global bank account? The reality is, it is not as easy as it sounds, depending on where you live. And here's something many people find surprising. If you bring a phone from abroad, it often requires official registration to fully function with local mobile networks. That registration can significantly...
Oh, I wonder what that means. Oh, jeez, guys. Why would they want you to do that? It's a mystery.
Increase the total cost of the device itself, sometimes making the final price much higher than the original retail price. So even owning a modern phone can involve extra financial steps that people outside rarely think about. Another unique system involves imported vehicles. Some foreign cars operate under temporary plates known as Gozar Muwaqqat, which roughly translates to temporarily transit permission. These vehicles are not treated the same as the fully registered domestic ones. There can be usage limitations, additional costs, and regularly conditions involved. So owning certain imported cars is very different compared to the other countries. So if you get in a car accident, good luck trying to repair it. Since many car brands do not operate in Iran, and luxury car parts are rare and close to non-existent here. Speaking of brands not being available, it's the same with restaurants and cafes. For example, KFC, McDonald's, Domino's, anything.
Never mind, guys. I'm all in on regime change. Listen, there are some things that are just unacceptable. All right, guys, this is... Oh, no, we can't let this happen. This is like a crime against humanity. Oh, bro, no KFC, no McDonald's, no Domino's. I'd fucking starve.
That is branched outside of the
Send in Delta Force right now.
And as for the cafe, I only know Starbucks that I know is not
my
available
God.
here. These sanctions also cross over to products as well. Many snacks and such, you can't get it here. Or if you do find it, is overpriced. If Asmongold is watching, yes, that means there is no Dr. Pepper. Moving on.
That sucks so much dick. Wow.
Even
That's
a
awful.
simple digital purchase like gift cards can become more expensive than their face value. Because they are often resold through intermediaries, a $10 gift card may cost noticeably more due to exchange rates and service fees and seller profit.
So it's about $11.
Margins. So online purchases 10%. Are rarely at their original global price.
That's crazy.
I made this video not to complain and not to dramatize anything,
just to educate
but to
people,
explain
right?
the partial realities
obviously.
of everyday system that most people never have to think about. Water, air, internet, healthcare, mobility, digital access.
This is the kind of stuff that people need to be talking about in terms of privilege. Because these are the things that, you know, not whether you're white or black or something like that, but the amount of privileges and advantages that an American is born into or a person that lives in a Western country is born into are so tangible and so obvious that whenever you compare it to a person that's born inside of Serbia, right? Or, and even Iran, right? I mean, and these aren't even the worst countries. Like there are many countries that are a lot worse than that. Privilege does exist, but I think that the way that it's manifested inside of like Western culture is just used as effectively a vehicle to hate white people or hate men. But the truth is that privilege is very real. And I think that whenever you hear about people talk about their day-to-day lives in these other countries, it becomes manifestly obvious that we live an incredibly privileged existence.
Individually, each issue may seem small, but together they shape daily life in ways that are different to explain.
That's what North Korea is like.
One sentence. This is
it's
not
good
the
RNG.
full picture. No single video can show that, but it is an honest one. And sometimes honesty about normal life is more important than the headlines. Hopefully, this will be the last type of video I make in regards of what is going on inside of my country. I do realize that a lot of you may want to know more and more sensitive topics.
Probably don't want to.
Believe me, I am completely unable to talk about it. Not just me, but a lot of people.
Smart guy.
Because it is not a simple
task
in order for me to try to find the correct wording in order to make a video about the situation. So love you all. Thank you so much. And I'll see you in the next video.
Holy shit, man. Holy shit. That is terrible. Let me link y'all the video for that. Ace AT is he's one of my viewers, and he made the first video, and you know I wanted to react to this one too and show my support as much as I can. There it is. Make sure to give it a like, guys, and take care. Yeah, exactly, man. It's fucking insane. And he's a good example of an intelligent Iranian. There's a lot of those examples. And why doesn't he talk about the cause, the sanctions? Because he can't, because they're political, and he doesn't want to have what his videos are referenced back at the for the government to go after him. That's the reason why. So he's talking about generalities and just like everyday life in Iran rather than directly criticizing the regime, because in doing so he could attract their attention and they could retaliate against him. That's the reason why.